Welcome back to our channel, where we dive deep into the daily chaos of Port Charles. Today is a beautiful day to unpack some massive rumors that are absolutely going to blow your mind. Grab your coffee, settle in, and let's get into the thick of it. Okay, back to the point. Let me explain what I am freaking out about. The rumor mill is currently on fire, saying a mystery character is returning to the ABC soap, and the leaker is calling it a massive shocker. And look, we all know what shocker means in soap language. It means someone who has been dead and buried for years is about to walk right back onto our screen. My brain immediately went to one specific person. Morgan Corinthos. Am I the only one who instantly thought of Morgan? I know some people are loving the idea of other characters coming back, but personally, Morgan is the only one that makes perfect logical sense right now. He has made ghostly appearances from time to time over the years, haunting Carly and Sunny when they are at their lowest point. But what if he isn't a ghost anymore? What if it might really be him this time? I mean, just look at the current canvas of Port Charles. If Britt Westbourne could be alive all these years, secretly surviving and dealing with all that insane WSB drama before getting arrested in Tortola, couldn't Morgan be alive too? We all thought Britt was done for, and bam, she is alive. And Jason just returned to Port Charles after being presumed dead or locked away in a WSB black site. If Jason can survive being held captive by a corrupt intelligence agency, why is it so hard to believe that Morgan could have survived his fate? And Drew Kane. No one found Drew after he went to Afghanistan either. Everyone thought he was completely gone, but that's because his death was... He was kidnapped by Victor Cassadine and held captive. These characters don't just die. They get kidnapped by megalomaniacs with unlimited resources. In Britt, Jason, and Drew's cases, their deaths were faked. Although not intentionally by any of them, they were under the complete control of others. They were pawns on a chessboard. So why wouldn't Morgan be a pawn too? He was a vulnerable young man in the middle of a mob war. He was the absolute perfect target for someone looking to hurt Sonny Corinthos. And we cannot talk about Back from the Dead storylines without bringing up the absolute king of survival, Ryan Chamberlain. Ryan held the record at 25 years. 25 years of being presumed dead. He was saved by the DVX and worked as an international assassin for them for over 2 decades until he completely lost his mind. Remember when Kevin Collins helped him get his mind back? Yeah, Kevin lived to completely regret it when Ryan went on a killing spree. If the DVX can scrape Ryan Chamberlain off a funhouse floor and turn him into a super spy for 25 years, they could absolutely pull Morgan Corinthos out of a burning car wreck. Wait, I am getting ahead of myself. Let's rewind and talk about how Morgan actually died, because this is the part that has always bothered me. He stole Julian Jerome's car, which was rigged with a bomb placed by Olivia Jerome. The explosion was massive, but nothing of Morgan was ever found after he was presumed killed in the explosion. Nothing. Carly and Sunny literally buried a scrap of clothing. A scrap of clothing? That was all that was ever found at the scene. I remember crying my eyes out watching them mourn over a piece of fabric, but even back then, I knew the golden rule. No body, no death. It would be so easy to write Morgan's return. He could be tied directly into the Ross Cullum story. Imagine if Cullum, or someone working for him, found Morgan after the explosion. Cullum was a dirty WSB director who ran his own rogue operation. Even though Cullum is dead now, there are probably rogue operatives who still are involved in the leftovers of what he was working on. Just like there were leftovers when Victor Cassadine died. The evil never just stops when the head of the snake is cut off. There are always loyal soldiers left behind, and Morgan could have been scooped up by an overseas operative for the DVX. This seems to be a very common practice in the spy business on this show. Look at what is happening right now with Cash's face on. The WSB publicly pronounced him dead, but we all know he is secretly alive and working as a ghost for Z. Z is likely going to assign Cassius a completely new identity. You die, your family mourns you, and you wake up in a windowless room being told you work for the government now. It would be so easy to write Morgan's return this way. It wouldn't even feel like a retcon. It would feel like a natural extension of the exact storylines we are watching play out right now. And this brings me to Jens Sidwell. Sidwell recently mentioned in an episode that he and Cullum had been in partnership for at least 10 years. 10 years. Do you realize what that means? That timeline perfectly covers Morgan's disappearance. It aligns so flawlessly that it feels like the writers have been planting these seeds. Cullum and Sidwell have been operating in the shadows for a decade. What if they needed leverage against? What if they needed a weapon? Morgan would be the ultimate weapon against the Corinthos family. Let's not forget Cullum's history with the Corinthos family. Cullum had been implicated in the bombing of Sonny's penthouse, an attack that nearly killed Michael Corinthos. Cullum was also involved in trying to kill Sonny in California. This man absolutely hates Sonny. He has spent years trying to destroy Sonny's empire and his family. So, it wouldn't be surprising at all if he was behind Morgan's disappearance too. If Cullum knew Morgan survived that car bomb, he would never let him go home. He would take him, wipe his memory, and use his status as a secret DVX operative for all these years. It makes so much terrifying sense. Can we please just imagine Carly's reaction to this? Carly is already navigating this insanely complex relationship with Sonny, trying to protect her family, dealing with Jocelyn being a WSB agent, and hiding her romance with Valentine Cassidy. If Morgan walks through the door, Carly would absolutely shatter. I mean, she buried a scrap of his shirt. She grieved him so deeply that it broke her. And to find out he has been alive, suffering, and manipulated by the exact same agency that is currently manipulating Jocelyn, Carly would burn the WSB to the ground. She would literally scorch the earth, and I would be cheering her on the entire time. And what about Sonny? Sonny is currently defending his territory, battling Jen Sidwell, and trying to handle Jason returning a fundamentally changed man. Sonny is already stretched so thin. If he finds out Sidwell and Cullum had his son for a decade, Sonny wouldn't just go to war. He would become a monster. The guilt Sonny carries over Morgan's death is the defining tragedy of his life. Realizing he was alive and being used as a pawn by his enemies would break Sonny in a way we have never seen. I know some people are loving the current storylines and might think bringing Morgan back is a mistake. I know some fans hate Back from the Dead plots because they say it cheapens the original grief. But I'm sorry, I completely disagree. When it comes to Morgan, his death always felt unfinished. It always felt like a loose end because of the lack of a body. We never got closure. And the potential for drama here is just too massive to ignore. Michael is busy scheming to push Willow and Chase into an affair, totally distracted by his own petty revenge plot. Imagine Michael's face when his little brother returns as a hardened, traumatized spy. It would force Michael to drop all this nonsense and step up for his... But wait, part of me is dreading this. I am figuring out my thoughts as I type, and honestly, it terrifies me. What if they ruin his character? What if he comes back and he's just a soulless villain? I don't want to see Morgan trying to kill his own family. But, then again, the redemption arc would be incredible. Jason came back from his WSB captivity traumatized and changed, suffering from PTSD. Morgan would be the exact same. He would need his family to pull him back to the light. It would be a story about healing, about overcoming trauma, and about the unbreakable bond of the Corinthos family. I kinda need this to happen now. I am just so worked up about this rumor. The connections are all there. The 10-year Cullum and Sidwell partnership. The DVX history with Ryan Chamberlain. The WSB fake deaths with Jason, Drew, and Britt. The lack of a body in Julian's car explosion. The scrap of clothing. It all points to Morgan Corinthos coming home. If this leaker is right, we are about to witness the greatest television event of the decade. I am going to be glued to my screen every single day, waiting for that dramatic reveal. Because why else would they keep dropping these hints? Why else would they establish that Z is giving Cassius Faison a new identity? They are showing us the mechanics of how the WSB and the DVX operate, so that when Morgan returns, we already understand the rules of the game. It is brilliant writing if they actually follow through with it. I have been watching since 2015, and this is potentially the best thing they could ever do for the Corinthos. I mean, just think about the ripple effects. Jocelyn is currently a WSB agent, right? What if Jocelyn is the one who finds him? What if she is digging into Cullum's old files, and she stumbles across a redacted file with Morgan's face on it? The drama of Jocelyn having to hide this from Carly until she can verify it would be peak General Hospital. And then there is the Drew Kane factor. Drew knows exactly what it feels like to be kidnapped and held captive for years. He could be the one to finally get through to a brainwashed Morgan. Okay, I need to calm down, but I seriously... The rumor mill has completely consumed my night, and I am not going to be able to sleep. Let me know if I am completely crazy for believing this, or if you guys see the exact same clues I do. Because right now, I am convinced Morgan is alive, and Port Charles is never going to be the same.